I will never recommend the keto carnivore lifestyle on this channel. And that's because if you want to enjoy the time that you have on this planet, i.e., with the people that you love, so your friends and family, then I would not recommend going down the high fat, high protein lifestyle. So, basing your lifestyle, so the core of your lifestyle, if you want to be healthy, you don't base it on a high fat, high protein lifestyle. So on this channel, I help people to lose weight sustainably and regain their health. And that is on a high sugar, high sugar freedom lifestyle, which is subsequently vegan. And it's the freedom lifestyle because it's freedom from ill health. So just talking about my own personal experience before I get on to anything else. In the last 1.5 years, two people in my daily reality, so two people, not on the internet, but two people in the real world, so every day, so two other everyday people like me and you, so one in their 40s and one man in his 40s and one man in his 60s. They both told me about how they were proudly doing the keto lifestyle. So they were eating the high fat, high protein animal products, and they were not vegan. They were absolutely adamantly not vegan, and very happily and confidently told me that I was an idiot. Told me to my face that I was an idiot. Well, since then, both of these men have now died of cancer. So one died of pancreatic cancer and the other was of prostate cancer. And yeah, they told me that they thought that the lifestyle that I promoted was stupid, but they didn't go as far as saying that therefore because I'm promoting this lifestyle I'm harming people. No, they didn't go that far, but they rejected my help and my coaching because they were both interested in getting healthy, but they chose the wrong path. So if you're going to, and this is survivability bias, so YouTube recommends me videos quite often of other channels, maybe like this, where it's usually, if you're watching this, it's people that look like you, so it's people who are overweight. Quite often it's middle-aged men and women who are overweight, praising the values of how it's making them healthy. And it's always the same. It's people who are diabetic, type 2 diabetic, fat and sick, but yet still praising this keto lifestyle. And yeah, it's crazy to me. So on this channel, I make video after video of me showing how I'm always lean, always full of energy. I've used CGM. I've got a month's worth of videos, so 28 days worth of videos showing me using a continuous glucose monitor to show that I'm not type 2 diabetic. So for example, my fasting blood glucose levels would be around 3.5 to 4 millimoles. And quite often in these videos that I see of someone who's on keto, their fasting levels of blood glucose might be 9 millimoles, so diabetic, but yet still saying, look how amazing it is that I'm on the low sugar, high fat keto lifestyle, but yet they're still type 2 diabetic. So if you want to be like everyone else and stay fat and sick, being on the keto lifestyle is not the way to go. And yeah, I see these videos of people praising the keto lifestyle, and people in the comments of these videos, this movement of being keto, high fat, low carb. You're not ever going to see the people who've died as a consequence of heart disease and cancer, or a mixture of comorbidities, a mixture maybe of heart disease, type 2 diabetes and cancer. You're not ever going to see these people praising the keto lifestyle because they've died. Does that make sense? So the people who have died from, therefore, the lifestyle of high fat, high protein, low sugar animal products, all are toxic. So the toxic and carcinogens that you get from living this lifestyle, those people who die as a consequence of it cannot come back and say, oh, look, you shouldn't have lived like that. Okay. So I base this channel on looking at, well, what is the most healthy way to live? And the conclusion that I always come to every single time is it's always vegan, it's always low fat, it's always low protein, and it's always high carbohydrate. And the reason for this is firstly animal products. Okay, so if you're eating high on the food chain, then therefore the animals that you are consuming, because we live in a world that we have polluted so badly, so the air and the soil and the water and the oceans, all of these toxins get absorbed by the plants that the animals eat. So if you're eating an animal and it's got the lifetime's worth of all of these plants that have absorbed, toxins from the environment that can't be stopped, then you have an increased amount of toxins being absorbed into your body. Whereas if you eat low on the food chain and you just eat the plants, you don't have that cumulative effect of the animal that has eaten lots and lots and lots of plants over its lifetime. So that's why I don't recommend eating animal products, and the same for fish. Okay, so the oceans are really badly polluted, so you don't want to be eating animals that have lived in this polluted landscape. So there's that. And the three biggest killers, are in the Western world. You're most likely not watching this from somewhere, in the undeveloped world. Okay, so you're probably watching this from America or the UK, or I don't know, Germany, somewhere in Europe, just off the top of my head, for example. So the three biggest killers in the Western world is heart disease first, then cancer, and then thirdly, pharmaceutical drugs. Okay, and not people overdosing, but people who were dying from their prescription medications from their doctor, quite often prescribed to things that you didn't need to have them for. So you can improve your life quality by the food. And you should always think, if I want to be healthy people care about what they put into their bodies. So drugs really are the last, should be always thought of. Modern pharmaceutical drugs, the modern healthcare industry should always be the very, very, very last option before you decide on trying to improve your health, if you have any health worries. So high fat is the cause of heart disease, and heart disease is a blood clot. So if you're getting atherosclerosis from all of the junk, the junk that you're eating in high fat food, so if it's a steak or eggs or bacon, it's not about your doctor telling you maybe, oh, it's not the cholesterol, it doesn't do anything. When you look under a microscope and you look at what is essentially the makeup of these atherosclerosis, so your blood vessel is getting cut off like this, so it's filling up and disappearing, and then eventually if you have an occlusion that's big enough in the right artery, you die like that, boom, you're gone. Whereas if you just lucky enough that you're suffering blood clots in small enough arteries or small enough blood vessels in the heart, you're going to just suffer multiple heart attacks. Okay, so like a cat with 9 lives, that's what you're going to suffer from. But heart disease is a blood clot. So if you look under the microscope, you can't tell a difference between an atherosclerosis, i.e. the blood vessels becoming occluded and being blocked up. It's the same thing. So fat causes this increased chance of getting heart disease, because when you're eating high fat food, you cause your red blood cells to stick together. So red blood cells naturally have a negative charge, so they just repel each other. Whereas when you're increasing unhealthy food, so high in fat, you increase this likelihood of red blood cells sticking together, forming rouleau formations. So it looks like a stack of coins under the microscope, and that's what rouleau means, so stack of coins. And you increase the chance of blood clots, and high fat food increases, so decreases the viscosity of your blood, so therefore increases the sludginess of your blood. So i.e., because blood is not water, okay, so water is a Newtonian fluid, so water is Newtonian. So that means that if you have water in a container, so like in this water bottle, even if the water just sits in the bottle without being moved, it stays the same level of viscosity. Whereas if you fill this with blood, if you imagine filling that with blood, it would become more and more less viscous, and it would form just a blood clot. So its viscosity changes. So blood is non-Newtonian. So when blood pools, okay, in your blood vessels, and you make it thicker and sludgier with this high-fat food, you're going to increase the chance of blood clot. And that's what heart disease is. It's blood clot. And it's the same as well for strokes. You increase the likelihood of stroke. And again, the bigger the stroke is, the more damage it does. So most strokes are silent. So they happen over years. You have these silent strokes. They make you more and more stupid. They lower your IQ. And then eventually, if you have a big enough one, you lose function on one side of your body. And then with a big enough one, you drop dead. So with big enough heart attack, you drop dead. Big enough stroke, you drop dead. So these are the same things. They work in the same principle. So the smaller heart attacks, okay, you live, but you have the consequences of, you go through the symptoms of the heart attack. And the same thing with stroke. And again, cancer. If you increase your fat intake, you are going to increase the likelihood of developing cancer. And this comes down again to essentially information that you're not being told by your doctor. And it comes down to not mutation theory. Okay, it's not mutation theory of cancer. It's the Otto Warburg theory of cancer. So essentially, you call it the metabolic theory of cancer, or the mitochondrial theory of cancer. So if the body is being starved of oxygen, i.e. the cells in your body become more and more starved of oxygen, they're more likely therefore going to switch to anaerobic respiration to produce ATP. So the primary energy system is glycolysis. So the body uses sugar to generate ATP. Whereas and the main source is through the mitochondria. Okay. So you got the Krebs cycle and the oxidative phosphorylation and the electron transport chain in the mitochondria. This is where most ATP is made, okay, in the mitochondria, and that's using oxygen, and that's controlled, so that's healthy, so that happens in all healthy cells. And when you increase the fat in your blood, you make your blood less efficient, you decrease the efficiency of blood at getting to the cells in the body, and once you cause a cell to be chronically starved of oxygen, you are going to increase the likelihood of the cell switching from its normal function to switching to essentially survival mode. So it's being starved of oxygen so much, the mitochondria isn't able to produce ATP, and it'll switch to glycolysis. And this is what we find in cancer cells. And yes, it's not sugar. Okay, it's not sugar that caused that. So the reason for it is fat causes the change in the healthy cell to become unhealthy and cancerous. And then just as a consequence of that, it uses sugar. But every cell in the human body uses sugar through glycolysis. So it's nothing new. It's not different. So the red blood cells, for example, The red blood cells don't have mitochondria in them. And that's because if they had mitochondria in them, they would draw oxygen away from the fact that red blood cells are meant to be oxygen carriers. So you can't have another organelle inside of the cell of the red blood cell that's going to draw oxygen away. So that's why red blood cells don't have mitochondria in them. They just respire through glycolysis, so just naturally, so sugar in the blood. Okay, so it's not through mitochondria. And also there's some cells in the kidneys as well that just respire through glycolysis. So if you want to decrease the chance of this switch from being healthy to abnormal to unhealthy, so you want to dilate all your blood vessels, you want them to work as efficiently as possible, you want oxygen to get to the cells as efficiently as possible. So this is why, you hear about these high oxygen environments, to aid in repair, to fight infection. So also if you decrease your sugar intake and you increase your fat intake, you're going to have the same effect of making yourself more unhealthy, and therefore you're going to run down your immune system. And the immune system is what takes care of disease in the body. So if you want to decrease the chance of getting cancer, you want to aid your immune system in order to fight, so kill off the cells that are turning cancerous. And the immune system deals with millions of cells every day. So it just happens, okay? Unconsciously, you don't know anything about it. It's just going on inside you all the time. So yes, if you want to die younger, you want to widow your wife, you want to leave behind your children, you want to die young, then increasing the likelihood of dying young from heart disease, from cancer, from high blood pressure. Okay, so high blood pressure, again, hypertension is just a consequence of high fat. So just like if you have the garden hose and you put your thumb over the end of the hose, you increase the pressure in the blood. So hypertension in itself is not a disease. Okay, so hypertension in itself is not a disease. It's a consequence, again, of being unhealthy, which also then leads to the increased likelihood of causing damage in the body. So if you put your thumb over the end of the hose pipe, you decrease the efficiency of the water getting out. So just through physics, to counter that, the pressure goes up inside the hose pipe. So it's the same effect. So if you're closing off your arteries, so you've got these fat deposits, you're occluding your arteries, your blood vessels, you're essentially doing the same thing that you would with a hose pipe. So as a consequence, the pressure in the hose pipe increases and you create that jet of water. And the same thing happens in your body. So as you increase the pressure of the blood, so your blood pressure goes up, you're going to cause damage again to your arteries. So for example, in the heart, when the blood leaves the heart, and when you have these bifurcations, so splitting of arteries, for example, so one goes off this way and one goes off that way, as the blood is coming along, it's going to literally hit the side. So the velocity of the blood is going to increase inside the blood vessels. So you're going to have it hitting the sides of the blood vessels more, and it's going to damage it over years. So again, that's why you want to save your kidneys. So you don't want to have hyperfiltration in the kidney. So essentially you're having hypertension in the kidney, which leads to hyperfiltration, which damages the kidneys. And that's again why you want low fat, low protein. So the kidney's main function is to excrete nitrates into the urine to be excreted as waste products. So obviously if you want to save your kidneys, save the workload, so decrease the workload, decrease the pressure in the kidneys. So the kidneys filter the blood, remove the toxins. Then you want to decrease your protein intake, especially animal products, which are also high in the acidic amino acids. So amino acids that are high in, so there's 20 amino acids, and those that are found in plants are generally less acidic because they don't come in the amounts of high acidic amino acids. So there are some amino acids that have a phosphate in them, and this means that they generate acid. Okay, so phosphoric acid essentially as a byproduct when they're broken down, and you're going to increase the acidity of your blood. So if you want to, again, everything, if you're on the keto carnivore lifestyle, it all points to, again, and I explain how the world works in this channel as well. The healthcare system is being supported, okay, by unhealthy people. So a sick population in the Western world is generating a huge medical industry. So this is why the pharmaceutical industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry now. So I'm making this video in 2025, October 2025. The pharmaceutical industry is a multi-trillion-dollar. So the healthcare industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And that's because there are lots of unhealthy people eating the standard Western or standard American diet of high fat, high protein, and ever decreasing amounts of carbohydrate. So the main two killers are chronic disease. Chronic disease means getting worse, only getting worse. And that's because it is a Sisyphean task. Okay, if you want to eat keto, high fat, high protein carnivore, it is a Sisyphean task to reach your goals of health, good health. That means you'll never make it. You'll only become more unhealthy. So if you want to save your life, then I recommend vegan, high sugar, low fat, low protein. And you don't need to be part of being conned by your doctor who just wants you as a patient. Your doctor does not want you to be healthy. They just want you to be a patient, okay? So healthy people don't have doctors in their lives. They don't have they don't have medical experts in their lives. They have nothing to do with the healthcare industry because they're healthy. So that's what I hear so many times is people who are eating the same high fat, high protein lifestyle. They're unhealthy, they're sick, they're involved in the medical industry, but all I hear is, well, at least I'm not vegan. And then when I say low fat, high sugar vegan, it's like, oh my God, at least I'm not that. And these are the same people, two people who've said that to me in my life in the last 1.5 years have now died of cancer. And the only person that could have saved them was themselves. And they've left behind their family and friends who loved them, and they're gone and forever. And there's nothing you can do about that. And yes, even me, on my keto, not on my keto diet, on my vegan, high sugar, low fat, low protein lifestyle. Yeah, even I could die any day. World War III breaks out, or someone runs me down in their car while I'm cycling, or I suffer a very rare immune disorder, immune disease. Then yeah, I could die tomorrow. And there's another one, immunity. You're immune. The likelihood of increasing the chance of autoimmune disease goes up again when you have animal products. So when you say, well, if you have an autoimmune disease, like you have arthritis, so you're getting arthritis in your joints, why would the body, your own immune system, attack itself? You think, well, that's stupid, isn't it? And why would the body attack itself? And it's not. It's because you've got foreign protein, foreign amino acids that are similar enough to the body. So that's molecular mimicry, that the body produces antibodies to. So it produces antibodies to the foreign body, the foreign protein. But then if it leaks across, into the blood because you've got leaky gut. So again, leaky gut is increased by having low amounts of fiber in the diet. Okay, and animal products increase leaky gut, and that means literally foreign bodies of protein that you've digested and broken down from the food that you're eating, animal products, leak across. So in your gut, so literally in your gut, there's only one cell. There's literally just one cell thick between the outside world and inside world. So in your intestines, where you're absorbing food, there's just one layer of cells, and that's in order to increase efficiency for uptake of nutrients. But if this membrane that you have in your gut is leaky, literally things can get across, go through the cell. This amazing one cell thick membrane goes through into the bloodstream. The body then picks up, well, there's foreign protein, making antibodies to destroy it. But because these proteins are similar enough, so for example in the pancreas, so type 1 diabetes is caused by dairy milk because there are the same 17 amino acids, I think 17 or 18 amino acids, that create the protein that's similar enough to protein in the pancreas. So that's why the body attacks itself, attacks parts of the body. So you think, well, why is the foreign pancreas or foreign thyroid in the body? Well, it's because you literally got bits of other animals' thyroid in your body, or like alopecia, where your immune system attacks your hair. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to improve your health, so if you want to lose weight and regain your health, you don't need to be like everyone else. Okay, so your doctor doesn't care about your health. They just want you as a patient for life. And that's what leads me to the third biggest killer in the world is pharmaceutical drugs, because they're being given to all of these people, the 99% of people who think my doctor is literally next to God in how amazing they are. They just care about my health. They want me to get healthy. No, they don't. They just want you like a drug dealer. Okay. They need to have a clientele. They don't want you to die that quickly. So your body is amazing. It will try to stay alive and heal for as long as it can. But eventually it will give out just like anything and you'll die. So vegan, low fat, low protein, high sugar. Get rid of doctors out your life. Get rid of the pharmaceutical industry out of your life. Get rid of surgery out your life. And yes, you'll be able to check. I've got video after video of inspirational content showing what the foods I eat, the lifestyle I recommend, and it's not being fat and sick and ignorant and stupid like the 99% of people. It's basing your life on health. And if you want to spend more time with the people you love, then be vegan. And you also don't need to harm animals either. Anyway, thank you for your time. If you've got any comments or questions or criticisms, put them in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.